Hey everybody, it's Wednesday night, at least I think it's Wednesday night. They all tend to run together for me. So today is one of those days where I have not given two thoughts to the fish room. It's getting kind of late in the evening and I'd like to get in here and shoot a video, but I really don't know what I want to shoot a video about. I got no particular topic on my mind or anything else. But the first thing I noticed when I walked in was that I've got two daylilies blooming today. I shot a brief video yesterday where I showed that the first one of the season had opened up. That came and went. The flowers only last for a single day. I figured out last year for the first time finally that they get their name Daylily because they last a day. I'd never really thought about it, but after having them in this context where I'm seeing them, and I'm watching them unfurl and unfold throughout the day, I came to realize that is just it. They last a day and then they're gone. So these two will be gone by tomorrow, but we will have a few more right behind them. In fact, you can see this one here is already starting to split open a little bit, so by the morning that one will be beginning to open up, and I've got a couple up here that are getting kind of fat. So I also shot a video yesterday where I showed you just how much light that actually produces. It was not this particular unit, but I have another similar one to it. And I forgot to point out in that video that that is only one of the three lights I have on this paludarium. So if you think it was brightly lit based on what you saw with that one, then remember I've also got this floodlight up here shining on it, and I'll grant you in comparison it's, doesn't do a whole lot more. You don't necessarily notice when I turn that light on, but it is more light. And then, of course, we have this one down here that shines directly down into the water, and that gives me a nice, interesting look at night. So, another thing that crossed my mind when I looked at this tank was somebody the other day talked to me about GE Silicone number 1 versus GE Silicone number 2. That is a question that comes up quite a lot because it is sort of understood within the fish keeping community that you're not supposed to use GE Silicone number 2. That is complete nonsense. You are certainly able to use GE Silicone number 2. You're looking at tubes and tubes and tubes and tubes of the stuff. I can't even count how many tubes of silicone I went through putting this waterfall together, and it is GE Silicone number 2. And the thing that came up that was concerning this particular viewer was that GE Silicone number 1 has changed their labeling. And that was always the big argument, was GE Silicone number 2 said that it was mold-free for up to 10 years, whereas GE Silicone number 1 did not. Or so people thought it did. It did, but you just had to know where to look to find that it said that it was mold-free for up to 10 years. But apparently now they've changed the labeling, so GE Silicone number 1 now also says that it is mold-free for up to 10 years. And they insist that they have not changed the formula, only the labeling. So that just goes to show you that for all the people that have been using the GE Silicone number 1 for all the years, insisting it's the only one that's safe to use because the other one said it was mold-free, GE Silicone number 1 has always said it was mold-free too. You just had to know where to look, as I said, and now they're actually putting it on the labeling for marketing reasons. So I will shoot a video where I go into a little more detail and talk about that. I've been thinking about doing that for a while. It's one of those things that crops up and tends to give people a lot of headaches and frustrations. And as I've mentioned before, I tend to gear my videos towards the newer fish keeper that's usually stressing out about all this different, information they're hearing, and a lot of it's confusing information. A lot of it is cross information that contradicts other stuff that they've heard in other places, and a lot of people are very opinionated and very adamant about their opinion that theirs is the right one. And so I like to shoot my videos to sort of reassure the newer fish keeper that it's not as bad as it might think. So let's have a little look and see if my tilapia is out, and she is. And it looks like she, along with everybody else, is expecting some good nummies. So let's see if we can't find my fish food and throw them a little good nummies here. It's hard to do one-handed. This is not one of the containers that's big enough for me to just stick my whole hand in. Now, she won't bother with the flake food. She'll get active as she tastes food in the tank, and she'll kind of swim around to see what's going on, but she won't eat anything until I start dropping the algae wafers in the tank. I've seen her eat a few cichlid pellets here and there, but I've never seen her eat any of the small fish in this tank. And she's not a big fan of like the shrimp pellets. When the shrimp pellets fall to the bottom, she might pick one or two up, but she usually spits them back out. So I'm under the impression that the spotted tilapia is a predominantly herbivorous fish, meaning that she basically eats vegetable material and is not much of a meat eater at all. So give me half a minute here. Let me put this down. And we will come over here. I can find my algae wafers. Pull a few of these out. Now this will probably get her a little more interested until she comes back around. Yeah, she knows what they are. She is such a gorgeous fish. So I'll say it again for anybody that's not familiar with this tank. This is my New World tank, and I call it that because most of the fish in here are New World fish, and by New World I mean pretty much anything east of the Atlantic. No, west of the Atlantic. I had to get my directions straight for a minute there. Basically North America, South America, the islands, and so on and so forth, Central America, and all that good stuff. So most of the fish in this tank come from one of those locales, including the pleco you just saw sticking its head out the bottom there. But my tilapia here is a transplant. She is actually a West African fish. Years ago, one of my viewers sent me some fish from a canal behind his house in Florida, and it was 3 small fish. I didn't know what they were at the time. I thought they were all sunfish, so I just threw them in the tank, and as they started getting bigger, one turned out to be this. One turned out to be a Mayan cichlid that got really big and aggressive. I actually gave that to a friend of mine out in Ohio, and last I heard it was still doing well. And then the other one turned out to be warmouth sunfish. I think it was a warmouth sunfish. It was some sort of small brown sunfish, but I had a columnaris outbreak in the tank after bringing some wild fish home that I'd caught down at the stream. Not the first time I brought home, something and put it in the tank, and I wound up losing almost everything in the tank. The tilapia here survived, and a couple of other fish did, but that sunfish that I'd gotten from my viewer in Florida did not survive. So the tilapia is the only fish left out of that group that I got, and she is just a looker. So that's why I've got West African fish in a tank that I refer to as my New World tank. So sorry for those of you who have heard that story before. I know I tell it often, but I get comments a lot about having an African fish in my New World tank, or I get people asking me what a New World tank is or what I mean when I say New World tank. So there you go. There's a little bit of an explanation. So not much of a specific video, just a little bit of a ramble, but I get the impression that at least some of my viewers enjoy my just sort of stream of consciousness, open-ended rambles when I come down here and just grab the camera and start chatting. So there you go. There was another one of them. So thanks for watching this one. Hopefully I will be in the mood to sit down in front of the camera and shoot some more topic discussion videos, and I'm always open to ideas. If anybody has any questions or has any topic type discussion topics that they would like to hear me talk about or whatever, by all means let me know. You've got my email down below, and then of course you got the comment section below the video as well, so make sure you leave a suggestion in one of those places. So thanks for watching this one. Don't forget, this one here is my New World tank, and I will see you real soon in the next one. Thanks again.